Hi guys, we're here with Maciek
and with Neilpryde.
And in this video we want to go into the detail of tuning your Aras Racing Evo and Aras Flight, the downhaul, the outhaul, the Batten tension, the cambers and the tack-strap.
All the secrets.
So the downhaul is a very important aspect to tune your sail. You can get it ready for stronger wind, you can get it ready for lighter wind, you can change the pressure point of the sail. What it exactly does is it determines how much your sail twists and how much the leech opens. So what we want to achieve is when we apply downhaul, we want the upper leech of the sail to open and to release the wind. So if I reduce the downhaul in the sail, you will see that the leech tightens and it will kind of trap more wind in the sail. The wind cannot release, which increases the power in the sail, so you will feel like you have a bigger sail. But it also reduces the top speed, your potential to go fast. So you kind of want to find a balance, because if you put too much downhaul, it opens too much, it makes the sail flat and the pressure point is moving all over the place. Therefore it's very important that you stay in between the markers that Neilpryde gives you and in between the indicators.
Yeah, and generally in all these aspects we're going to talk about, a flat sail is a fast sail, but a stable sail is also a fast sail. So you want to sort of always find this sweet spot of really top speed and release versus stability, control and easiness in the sail. As Nico mentioned, an over downhaul sail will start, the center of effort will start moving between the front hand, back hand, and you're sort of gonna start losing balance. And an under downhaul sail will really feel like it's pulling you sideways rather than propelling you forward. You want the sail to feel like very slippery and wanting to move forward every gust. 90% of people I see on the beach, the sails are under downhauled. So if you're watching this, there is a big chance that you're not putting enough down.
I think I speak for the both of us that we personally like to go more close to the max point of the sail. Maybe even a little bit above, is that right, Maciek?
Yeah, I treat the max point as my sort of optimum. And then if I'm really stacked, overpowered, pozzo, small board, but I don't want to take the 5/6 because maybe there's a few holes on the course, I would go over the max just to be ready for the gusts. Neilpryde in general is a very stable sail, so you don't need to worry about losing stability as maybe on some other brands. So you can really put a lot of downhaul for a lot of release.
Then next up we have the outhaul tension and also the two different positions for the outhaul.
And we mentioned in the general rigging video that the bottom position is something that you're gonna put by default. And the upper one is something that you're only gonna put if you're very underpowered. Why? Because if you put the boom in the lower position, there's more space for the mid leech to open here. So therefore it releases more air, therefore it gains more top speed. If you put it on the higher clue, this will close more. It will, as you said, capture more wind, and you're gonna have a lot more power in the back hand. If you feel like your sail is blowing up and you cannot really sheet in, that means you have too much backhand pressure. And then if you're on the top clue, lower it down low. If you still feel you have too much backhand pressure, you're not able to sheet in the sail onto your back foot strap, that means you should probably put more downhaul.
Then we have the tension for the outhaul. We have this super convenient outhaul system on the boom, actually an inter-outhaul, so it's inside the boom, which is super cool. And here you can easily adjust while riding the tension of the outhaul. That's a super important aspect to tune your sail. And what you can do is essentially make the belly of the sail bigger. So if I release it, okay, I'm gonna have less tension and the sail is gonna shape a bigger belly essentially, which creates more power. It will help you in light wind, it will help you to get planing, it will help you to get through lulls as you're planing. And as you do the opposite, if you tension it, you essentially flatten the sail, and as Maciek explained earlier, that makes the sail faster, but it also makes it more unstable. So therefore also here it's really important not to over-tension it, and similar to the downhaul that Maciek said, a lot of people under downhaul the sail, a lot of people over outhaul the sail. So we don't want to put too much tension on the outhaul.
Yeah, so if you see World Cup riders, a lot of times they will have a lot of downhaul and not too much outhaul. Why? Because we want the boom area, what we're holding in our hands and where we are standing, we want this to be very stable. But then we want to get the release somewhere, the top speed somewhere, and this we get from the downhaul. So in general, this is a slightly better way of finding that sweet spot than under downhauling and over outhauling your sail. This is what we see all around the world. People under downhaul their sails, go out, oh, I have too much power, okay, I'm gonna put outhaul. You shouldn't use your foot to apply outhaul pressure. Outhaul is very neutral, and the one thing that will also really help your stability is setting the right boom size. There is no way that you should have 8 centimeters of rope here, because then the gust hits and the energy goes into the rope moving rather than into direct top speed. This connection, the sail is the engine of the entire equipment, and this connection has to be as solid and as direct as possible.
Another recommendation from my side is, rather than using the upper clew and pulling it really tight, is to use the lower clew and making it a bit more loose. That way you have sort of the same effect. You go a bit better in light wind, but you still have the stability. Because if you put it in the upper clew, you make it tight, you really lose the stability. Whereas, and that's also important to mention, on the foil sails, you can typically put a little bit more tension on the outhaul, and it will still work. It makes the sail flat, it makes it fast, and you don't need the same stability that we need on the fin.
Yeah, exactly. On the foil sail, generally you want the sail to be lighter on the board. Therefore, you will trim the sail to be flatter. Flat is fast and light on the board, but doesn't have as much downforce, doesn't put as much stability to the board. So on the fin, the board wants to dance around, the board wants to fly away quite a little bit, so you want that belly in front to really lock it in. On the foil, you don't want downforce on the nose of the board, therefore you're gonna trim your sail a little bit flatter.
Then to finish off the boom, you can obviously also adjust the height of the boom. This will help you to trim a little bit the board, similar to what Maciek said. You have sometimes a dancing board, you have a board that pushes a bit more down. As you move the boom up, generally you can say that lifts the nose of the board, it decreases the pressure on the mast base, which helps in light wind. And vice versa, in strong wind, you can put the boom a little bit lower. For me, it's around chest high. Is it the same for you? Exactly, so that's more or less the Pozzo Forteventura strong wind setting.
Yeah, so from chest to chin, and you go out, you try your gear, and if you feel overpowered, lower your boom 5 cm, 4-5 cm, and you're gonna gain a lot more control.
Next aspect are the battens, really important fine-tuning, also a lot of questions about that.
And the very big difference between the Neilpryde sails, already I think from 2007 until now, to all the other brands, is that on the Neilpryde sail, because of the UltraCam system, the batten tension is directly connected to the cam tension. So the more tension you have on the batten, the more tension you're gonna have on the cam. In a traditional sail, you use spacers. The battens, they only apply pressure to the sail and to the sail body inside the sleeve. In this system, when you get a gust, everything is much more connected. The camber never moves away from the mast, so you can get a lot more performance out of every little puff of wind that you're entering. And the other advantage is you don't need to put spacers. All the tension you're gonna apply is here from the back of the sail. Nico, how do you trim your battens?
So as a basic guideline, we want to decrease the batten tension towards the top of the sail. So we want to have a lot of tension on the bottom battens and then less on the top, so it opens up. It's important to have more tension here, so we really get a nice stable profile. The bottom two battens have the most tension, and we have a super convenient batten tensioner system with Neilpryde where you actually don't even need a key to open it and adjust it.
Can you hold it one sec? Yep. So as Nico says, opens up really easily. And if you extend the batten, so if you go left, you extend the batten, you put more tension. If you shorten it, go right, you put less tension. I would recommend adjusting maybe 360 degrees or 720 degrees at a time, not more, because the impact on the sail is quite big. How do you know the batten is tensioned correctly? If the batten is under tensioned, you're gonna see slight little wrinkles alongside it. If the batten is over tensioned, you're gonna see the batten pocket is sort of in a valley. So the panels on both sides of the batten are sort of gonna go up from a batten, and the batten will be sort of in a valley. As Nico mentioned, the bottom battens crank the tension quite a lot, and then as you go towards the top, you just want to take out the wrinkles from the material, and that's it, don't put any more. So the slight difference between the fin sails and the foil sails: on the foil sails you will put a tiny bit less batten tension because of what we mentioned before. If you put more batten tension, you create more cam tension, and this will create more belly in the front of the sail and more downforce on the nose. In a fin sail, you want more stability, so you're gonna crank the battens more, you're gonna put more batten tension.
Show the guys how it kind of looks when you tension those battens, what kind of is the right tension and what is the wrong tension. It's really hard to actually explain as you open it what is the right tension and what not. For the top battens, I actually like to open it. My reference is basically to put the tensioner at a 90-degree angle. That should go without effort, and then you can just snap close it, and that way you know you don't have too much tension and not too little tension. All the wrinkles are gone and you don't have that valley that Maciek mentioned before.
That's actually a good trick, I might use that.
So last bit of tuning you can do on the bottom of the sail with the so-called tack-strap. So this is the strap you have on the bottom of your sail, and you can basically hook it into your extension. And what you can do is you can create a belly in the bottom of the sail, and it does a similar thing as we spoke about before with the downhaul. And with the batten tension, we can trap sort of the wind, so it will release less, it will open less, and therefore create a bigger belly and give you a little bit more power, especially for the light wind days, for low wind. And when the wind gets stronger and we need some control, we want the sail to open, we loosen it a little bit, we just give it enough tension so the wrinkles are gone. That way we have a nice shape, but yeah, we don't trap too much wind. The sail releases just as it should on the top of the sail, and we have a super efficient and fast sail.
Yeah, if you put extremely a lot of tension, you could see that this batten actually moved up. This tensions, and it even tensions all the way up to here. So the tack strap is super underappreciated, underrated way to trim your sail, and it's sometimes worth to play around with it. So another difference between fin and foil is that on foil you wouldn't put much tack strap pressure. Anytime you put power in the sail, it's drag, and on the foil you want everything to be as slippery as possible. You don't need as much power, you don't need as much belly, you don't need as much grunt. You just wanna go slippery, slippery, slippery. While on the fin, sometimes the way to go faster is actually add more power, add more grunt, add more drive, add more low end.
And now you know everything you need to know to tune your RS Racing and RS Flight sails.
They're gonna go faster than us now.
I hope not.